Looking for inspiration? Find out what's trending now, going viral.
Selfie-worthy.
Obsession approved. And 100% that must-have item.
This look? Obsessed.
Thousands of products with 4 and 5-star reviews at your fingertips.
Loving this little machine.
From people like you and definitely you.
This coffee? Next level.
Ready to share the love? Amazon customers most loved.
Got a blanket.
Nearly 1 year after 2-month-old baby Kion Jones went missing and his mother admitted to disposing of his body in the trash
and his car seat.
That mother, 39-year-old LaDanya Boggs, was found stabbed to death in the same Benning Road home in Northeast where she confessed to WSA 9 1 year ago.
It's a
Yo, man, this is one of the most tragic stories that I can think of. You know, we come on this channel, we talk about it all the time, and it almost like it's numbing now. How a lot of these mothers can just nonchalantly talk about how they kill their children, dispose of it in the trash can, take the life out of it, and said like it's another day at the park, or they're telling a story about what happened at work today, or how their family members and them did an event together. It's sickening. It's crazy. But the twist on this is even more nuts, which I'm about to let that play out and let you hear about the twist about this woman being stabbed. Also, too, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, hit that notification bell up top. Only place where you're gonna get raw and uncut news when it comes to crime going on in the U.S. all across the country.
took it outside and disposed of it in the trash. And that's what happened.
Early this morning, police say someone called 911 and hung up. Officers found Boggs dead and hours later charged 44-year-old Carl Jones, Kion Jones's father, with Boggs' death. Carl Jones never faced charges in Kion's disappearance, only Boggs, who told investigators she was high on PCP at the time she last saw her son. Court records indicate her story changed multiple times until she admitted to throwing the infant away after he was found unresponsive in her bed. Boggs was charged with tampering with evidence. Her trial was set to start in October.
I think she should have been locked up, and if she had been locked up, she'd have sobered up. And maybe, just maybe, her mind would have came back to her.
You know, that's what I hate about these stories when we talk about Blackistan. It's always getting locked up, they'll sober up. When even in the jail system, we've seen it, we heard it, that the access to these mind altering drugs, PCP, heroin, coke, crack cocaine, fentanyl, all this stuff is accessible in jails. There's very few jails you can go into where it's not accessible. But most of the time, about 80% of the time in jail, it's accessible. People find ways to get high to do what they do. And it's just disturbing because this woman, if she probably would have been locked up, she would have had a day in court. She would have went to jail like somebody and would have been held accountable. Now, this man that did this, the child's father, I'm quite sure that this guy probably snapped because he's probably been wrestling with this for some time. I mean, think about someone admitting last year that they disposed of your child and you still with that person, and every day they still doing the same thing. All that resentment is building up, that anger. That's why I try to tell people, man, therapy is the best thing for these situations. And then after you start getting therapy, the person that's causing you the most grief, leave them alone. Just leave them alone. But then again, he might have been addicted to like a drug because he might have been on a drug binge along with her. I mean, this is just some of the stuff that we see, especially in Blackistan, man. The toxic behavior, it never stops. It's an endless cycle.
Many members of the Benning Road community are still reeling from the tragedy that has shattered this family.
This is awful. It really is. So I guess now with her gone, they ain't gonna never find the baby.
In Northeast, Colby Satterfield, WUSA 9.
They're never gonna find the baby because she said she testified doing this a year ago. She dumped it, and it's no telling where the remains of that child is. I mean, we're talking about a year ago. You got to go to a landfill. You got to dig that stuff up. Yeah, this baby is long gone, and now the mother is gone too, and her father never coming back. It was just a waste of life, man. You just, oh my God, man. I tell you, these stories, man, it just heart wrenching. It really is. It really is. It just lets you know where we at right now as a community. It really does. It lets you know where we at as a community. And we're not nowhere where we need to be at all. Now we're gonna go and head over to Texas. Another story out of there. Again, only place where you're gonna find nothing but the truth when it comes to these crime stories, because nobody else is doing what we're doing. Nobody else is going out here putting in that work, except for Black Gen Z and my boy on AK Nation. Shout out to these guys. They do the same as I do. Always trying to bring the most valuable news as possible. Enough of that. Let's jump into the next topic.
And now to a developing story from North Harris County involving a 16-year-old Nimitz High School cheerleader who was shot and killed inside a home. Her mother's boyfriend is now accused of pulling the trigger. Joining us now live outside where this tragedy took place is KPRC2's Rochelle Turner. And
Mic on.
See, this is where these stories be getting me. What in the world does a 16-year-old child deserve to get you so upset that you got to go get a gun and shoot them in cold blood? Unless that child is trying to literally kill you with a weapon in their hand and you're trying to protect yourself, there is no need for you to shoot a child. 16, no, whatever. No, that is uncalled for. And a lot of these people do this. A lot of these people are so disturbed, and people trying to make excuses for them. Oh, they had a rough childhood. Oh, they went through something. No, 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 no. Ain't no rough childhood. It ain't that they went through something. This is because these people are on straight demon time, as my boy Black Gen Z be saying all the time. They ain't got nothing but the devil in them. That's all it is. Nothing but straight evil. Wow.
Rochelle, you spoke with the teen's mother today.
Keith, over the phone, Lauren's mother was too distraught and upset to talk about what happened, but she told me that her daughter was loved by many and she's already missed. Just outside Lauren's home, you can see people, friends, and neighbors dropping off flowers, balloons, and cards. Many tell me that her death is tragic.
Right next door, that happened a few feet away from me. It's crazy.
Mondale Madison lives next door to this home on Canton Trace in Humble, where loved ones have placed balloons, posters, and flowers of 16-year-old Lauren Juma.
What do I preach all the time on this channel? I preach this all the time, day in and day out. I preach this a lot of times with a lot of these younger women, these older women and younger women. You got to be careful who you let in your circle of children, because a lot of these guys that come in here talking about they love your children, they're going to look out for you, they care. A lot of them is not stable. A lot of these guys got a control problem. They can't take any type of mass disrespect. They can't do like normal adults do with children. Because see, listen, I have a 16-year-old. I have a 17-year-old. Yes, they get mad disrespectful. But do I go up here and get a weapon and say good night? You walk away. You state your piece and walk away. You let them find out the hard way. Or if you're a step or boyfriend at that, remove yourself out the situation. You ain't got no skin in the game. That's not your blood child. That's a woman you dealing with. Just pack your stuff and leave. Hey, I can't deal with you and I can't deal with your kid. She's too much for me. And plus, you 60 years old. You 60. Now you're going to spend the rest of your days in a facility behind bars. You're not going to get none of that great medical care that you would have got out here in these streets being free, because everybody know that the jail system medical care is horrible. It's so horrible. And that is facts. Man, let's continue with this mess here.
It's a much different view from early this morning. The home turned into a crime scene after deputies found Lauren inside. She had been shot multiple times. Mondale was friends with Lauren and shocked when he heard the news.
Yeah, I met her in the 7th grade. When she first moved here, we was all cool. We used to play basketball, you know what I mean? Outside, used to just chill. But she was cool. She nice, you know, very loving, you know.
Investigators say Juma's sister called police to alert them and let them know that Lauren was being held captive at gunpoint by her mother's boyfriend, identified as 60-year-old Dan Brisbane.
I didn't know him. I seen him. He always used to have the garage open. He used to just stare out, you know. I ain't think nothing about him.
Lauren was a junior at Nimitz High School and a cheerleader. She had aspirations to be a police officer or go into the military. Those who knew Lauren already miss her and want answers about her tragic death.
See, this is even more disturbing. He's 60 years old and he held this young girl captive. I'm quite sure her mother probably was at work or whatever. Again, guys, women, I try to tell y'all this all the time. The warning signs is there. If you got one of these dudes that take it to the extreme, get very violent, quick to get a gun, quick to get a hammer, quick to get any kind of thing that could do mass destruction in their hand, always threaten to use it, you better leave that person alone. That is not healthy. That was a baby. You had no business holding that girl captive. Why are you holding her captive for? What? She hurt your feelings? Were you doing something you wasn't supposed to do? I mean, this is a 16-year-old. This is a baby. Wow.
It's just devastating. It's unreal.
In a statement, Aldine ISD said, "Our community mourns her passing. Our thoughts and prayers are with her family, loved ones, and friends during this difficult time." As you can see, this growing makeshift memorial for Lauren continues to grow. Many neighbors, friends, and family coming out here to show just how much they love and already miss her. As for Brisbane, he's been charged with murder, and the family tells me they have set up a GoFundMe page to help with funeral expenses. You can find more information on this story at clicktohouston.com.
Anyway, guys, I will share that GoFundMe on that page, on my regular content. Again, this is tragic, man. 16 years old. You know, when you're 16, you're a junior, you're preparing to, especially a cheerleader, you're trying to figure out what you're trying to do in life and things of that nature. You know, you're not worrying about you shouldn't have to worry about that type of nonsense with your mom's boyfriend. They talking about he had erratic behavior, and yeah, they said I got a feeling that he was trying to do something to her. And they said it's a stepdaughter, so I think he was married to her mother. Let me rephrase that. That was his stepdaughter, so he was married to her mother. So my thing is, you hold her captive and you had your pants down. That is not good. So I'm about to see the GoFundMe here. So far, only $8,612 been raised out of the $15,000 the family need. So I'm gonna share that and try to get that out there. But man, this is sad, man. It really is. I hate this. I really do. Rest in peace, man. But whoo, that's a doozy. Yeah, man. All right, guys, we're gonna go to the last story here. We're gonna go to the last story, the one y'all been waiting for. We're going and heading on to Jacksonville, Florida. Yep, old Jacksonville. Jacksonville had a violent weekend. They had about 3 shootings. Three they had 3 people dead out of 3 shootings. Actually, 4 people dead, and they had 1 stabbing. So Jacksonville was pretty busy this weekend, but you know, it's been a while since Jacksonville had that type of murder rate on a weekend. Usually it's been 1 a day and 1 here every other few days or whatever, since they've been cracking down on crime a lot more harder than what they used to be. So anyway, we're going to go into this story and let y'all hear this one.
Tonight on the 10 o'clock news, a Jacksonville man is charged in a triple murder that killed 3 family members. He appeared in court today. This is video of 37-year-old Terrell Lewis in the Duval County courtroom. Good evening to you. Lewis is accused of shooting and killing his girlfriend, her siblings, and then kidnapping his son in Arlington, eventually prompting an Amber Alert.
Mic on.
Imagine the terror in that little boy's eyes. You're 8 years old. You hearing all these large shots of what your daddy did, eliminating your mother, your uncle, and your auntie, and he's telling you, come with me. I know that little boy was probably terrified to the max, because you don't know if your dad is going to hurt you. You don't know if as a child, you don't know. You're confused. You're just like, wait a minute, what happened? Wow, man.
According to relatives, the people that were killed are Janisha Williams, her brother, Jordan Williams, and her sister, Jamonica rather, Williams. Tonight, we're hearing from the people of the family that are absolutely heartbroken, but also hearing from the son, an 8-year-old boy named Lewis. News Projects reporter Bree Isom joins us live. Bree, you spoke and you've learned a lot about the family.
Yes, I did speak to them, and Lewis is currently right now in jail without bond, potentially facing a life in prison.
Laughing at her. Bree Awesome. She looked like one of them Valley Glacier glider women. She really do. She look like one of those that, like go to the beach, do a little surfing. You know, definitely won't find her in Blackistan. I promise you that. She definitely loves the gated community. Guys, this is what I be trying to tell you with some of these Sun men. That's why I keep talking about mental health. The stability of mental health is so important. But unfortunately, in my community, or aka the community, some men and women don't want to embrace that mental health capacity. They want to say, I'm going through a phase, I need some time to myself, I'll figure it out. And it spins out of control. That's when the impulsions and that demon inside of you that you didn't get taken care of and moved out of your system overtakes all of your thinking abilities. And then you be like this guy in front of the judge, no bail, gonna stay there until trial. And then after the trial is done, you're probably going to be either in life in prison, which will be luck, or because you killed 3 people in cold blood and you take it to trial without no plea deal, you're going to be on death row. And Florida's not playing, because Florida definitely execute people. Okay. That Ron DeSantis believe in getting everything carried out. He ain't one of those people to let you sit there, get chubby, and take pictures and do interviews. You're going to go to the promised land or the gates of hell, whichever one that you deem to be let in based upon your actions after the negative actions that you've already carried out in destroying your life and others around you. Let's continue.
33-year-old Janisha Williams, 28-year-old Jamonica Williams, and 30-year-old Jordan Williams were all found dead inside the River City Landing apartments Friday, according to family members.
Now I'm going to tell you about River City Landing apartments. It's not the best apartments, not the worst. It's a pretty decent area. It's not a wild area, because see, you got to remember, in Jacksonville has several hoods that you got to avoid. It ain't like no one side of town, or and then there's hoods within hoods. So, example given, you're in Jacksonville and somebody say they got a house on Moncrief Road. That whole block, don't go there. You gonna learn today. Someone tell you that they living in Washington Heights, don't go there. You gonna learn today. Somebody tell you that they dealing with a person in Eureka Gardens, definitely don't go there, especially at night. You will get lit up like a Christmas tree. This is stuff you got to watch out for in Jacksonville. I worked in Jacksonville. Okay. When somebody say, I got a house or say I just rented in a regular neighborhood on the west side of Jacksonville. You better not go there after when the sun goes down, because 9 times out of 10, that's when it gets relit. And you better not go there on the weekend when it's too hot. Because if it's real hot in Jacksonville and the sun is beaming down, you will get lit up. I'm just telling you, Jacksonville ain't nowhere to play with, man. Jacksonville is like Atlanta on steroids. You don't understand. Jacksonville, Florida is a different breed of city. You just can't sleep on it. They don't have just one set of gangs. They got gangs within gangs. They have sets within sets. Neighborhood gangs. They have gangs. They gangs is almost set up like LA. It's crazy. Like, you just can't, there's not no one gang taking over the city. You know what I mean? You can't just go to Jacksonville and be like, oh, this is an all-blood city. They're got gangs within gangs. So with all these multiple gangs running around in that city, yeah, it ain't nothing to play with, man. You got to know what you're doing, or you will find out real quick in a hurry.
"37-year-old Terrell Lewis is the accused killer. Family members told News4Jax that Janisha Williams was Lewis's girlfriend and the mother of his child. Family said the other two killed inside the apartments were the girlfriend's sister and her brother. Investigators say Lewis kidnapped his 8-year-old son, and that's when the Amber Alert was sent out. Court records show Lewis was named in a domestic violence injunction in 2016 by his son's mother.
Mr. Lewis, please come forward.
Lewis appeared in court on Saturday.
I'm going to set your
This is what I want y'all women to understand. And I want y'all to understand, especially in the community with Sun men and Sun women. These domestic disputes, these charges, if someone is putting hands on you and you got to get the police involved and remove them out of the home, or whatever you got to do to protect yourself, you need to leave the relationship. It ain't healthy. It is a very small amount of people that put their hands on their significant other and actually stop doing it afterwards. Most people, if they do it the first time, they start doing it again. And see, another thing we have a problem with in the Sun community, and the community ties with Sun people, we don't never want to tell the cops. We don't want cops involved in domestic disputes. Well, you know, he put his hands on me. It ain't no big deal. Or, you know, it's fine. I made him upset, or it was just, he had a bad day. We always find excuses. And then this is what happens. Then finally, that person's mess around and snap. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if this girl brother probably put hands on him before and probably got the best of him. So he probably was like, okay, I'm not going out like a sucker this time. I'm going to make sure I'm going to heat up everybody in the situation. You can't, man. You can't make this up, man. You cannot make this up.
bond at no bond.
He's been charged with 3 counts of second-degree murder. We talked to some of the family members after the court hearing, including the mother of the victims.
It's just so much going on inside of me. I'm just lost for words.
Levin says she hopes the family gets justice.
Because he took my kids and his mother, and we got to live with this the rest of our life.
Lewis,
I want you to see the grief in this woman's face. This man took all her children, almost. I think the only child is left. The only child that woman got living is her daughter beside her. Do you see how disturbing that is? On your children, as a mother or a father, you put in work. You raise your kids, you get them to be an adult. And, you know, you're thinking that when they get an adult, you don't have to worry as much. But then this type of stuff happens. That's why I've been grilling in my kid's head, even as an adult. If you're in a situation where it's toxic, where people are putting hands on each other, walk away. Just walk away. Don't sit there, try to fight it. I know it's going to be painful. I know you may have to drink a little vodka or something to get through, cry a little bit, you know, maybe mope a little bit. Sorry about that, guys. But whatever you do, get out while you can. Damn.
Lewis's 8-year-old son talked to News4Jax with his grandmother's permission. He talked about what he loved about his mother.
She always be nice to me. She puts money on my games. She helps me do my math, my schoolwork, and she always loved me.
Now, this is what these men don't understand that do this fool stuff in front of their children, especially these son men. These young men grow up traumatized. That 8-year-old gonna need a lot of therapy, which I hope and pray to God his grandmother get him the much therapy as she can. He's gonna need it because this young man has seen something he will never ever get out of his head. He's seen the carnage of his loved ones dying by the hands of his own father. So, for the love of God, I hope and pray that they get therapy. He needs it because this ain't good, man, at all. Wow. God bless that young man. God bless him.
Now, Lewis's next court date is on May 23rd. And now, coming up on News4Jax at 11, I talked to someone with the Quigley House that specializes in domestic violence help. And she says the warning signs you have to look out for. I'm reporting live from JSO, Isom, Channel 4, the local station.
So, guys, that's all I got for you on this episode of Blackistan Chronicles. I want y'all to understand something. Okay. If you're in a relationship and the warning signs is there, where is it toxic? It's insane. It's not safe. Leave. Leave. Don't be trying to be a hero. Don't be trying to get that old thing back. Don't be trying to say, I know I can make this work. Leave. If hands are being put upon each other, threats are being made. If you and that person gotta sleep with one eye open and the other eye looking at each other, it's time to go. It is time to go. And that's just facts, man. It's time to go. Man, I'll tell you, man, you can't make this up at all. But anyway, that's all I got for y'all guys. Please like, share, subscribe. I'm out.